How you guys doing? This is the Nest. We know it's been a hot minute since we've done this, but next week is broadcasting, and so I want to get something set for everybody.
Right.
So guys, this is the Rocket League team, of course. This is the team that went to Texas, and even though the CECC did not want to give us any, Program of the Year awards or anything like that, like the year before, we made sure that we were gonna get a trophy from them regardless. So, guys, go ahead and introduce yourself, starting from.
So my name's Luke, aka Wova.
Just give me a fun fact or something.
Fun fact: I was born in the Netherlands. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I've lived in like 8-9 different states/countries in my lifetime. So
Damn.
it's a random fact.
All right.
I am Arlen. I go by Oath. And the fun fact about me is I'm a really big Seahawks fan.
Nice.
Hello, my name's Garrett, aka Guh, and I've been to a lot of countries outside of the U.S., such as Germany or some stuff in the Bahamas.
Nice. And I'm Danny Dunzo, GA for production, and I'm from Miami. I speak Spanish. Kind of open-ended, but of course, national champions. I know there's many different conferences, but obviously the CECC seems to be the most respected. At least that's what McDonald's thinks, since that was pretty much plastered everywhere. But just tell me your thoughts on that.
So I mean, CECC at least last year was like the only big Rocket League LAN because there was no CRL, so that was like the biggest LAN of the year last year, and luckily it was sponsored by McDonald's, so got a lot of door dashing while we were in Texas. So, but it was a lot of fun being there. That was I think that was all of our first like biggest, like the big boy LAN. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was my first LAN in general too. So that being the first one was like culture shock kind of too.
Yeah, I've also never really been into the competitive scene for that long, so I wasn't really a big tourney player, so that felt like definitely my biggest tournament that I had to play on. Not even just because it was a LAN, but like it's a national championship, and it was a good Game 7 series that went all the way to overtime.
Of course. And speaking of that, it is a major LAN. And actually, I forgot to ask you guys, and this is kind of important for my next question. What grade are you guys in right now?
So I am unfortunately a junior now.
I'm a sophomore.
I'm a sophomore as well.
Yeah, and that's actually coming to my next point. This is not going to be your last major LAN. Definitely not. In terms of all the other esports, especially, you guys are here for still another minute. Do you guys sort of feel that like pressure that like compared to other sports that sometimes seniors are leaving? You guys are going to be here for still at least another year or two. What goes through your mind? Is that something you guys think about, or is that kind of just living in the moment?
I think since we're hoping that CRL is going to happen this year, but there's been a lot of European transfers to come to North America to compete. So although we had a good year last year, we have to have a lot more competitive teams and competitive matches that we have to play throughout the year, and a lot more people you have to worry about.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's pressure. I mean, maybe last year there was pressure because we got 2 new recruits and we were expected to do good. And last year we did do really good. And like you said, there's a bunch of imports now, so the competition is like as the highest it's ever been. So, I mean, I wouldn't really say there's any pressure.
But speaking of imports, we live in Muncie. Let's not. I'm grateful to be here, but obviously it's not a metro metropolitan area at all. A metro metropolitan area in the slightest. There's not too many things to do here, but yet somehow we have found ourselves in a place full of people from Hispanic countries, from Korea, you said from EU. So has that sort of helped alleviate, I don't want to say boredom, because I mean, some people just are into smaller cities. I'm from Miami. See, I told you I was going to say that. So, well, when it comes to living in a city like Muncie, do you think there being sort of less distractions, but still a lot of people you can talk to kind of helps out? If you could, would you live in a different city instead to compete? Like, what's your thoughts about the city as a whole?
I mean,
I think Muncie might help just because there's nothing to do, so you play Rocket League instead. But I mean, other than that, I mean, as long as you keep a good balance, I feel like there's not much to worry about between like being in a place where there's a bunch of stuff to do rather than being in a place where there's nothing.
I mean, for me, I would like if it was in like a bigger city area because now there's literally nothing to do. I mean, I guess it helps because all we can do is just sit and play Rocket League because that's all there is to do. But I do wish we were in somewhere bigger so we can actually do stuff outside. But I mean, we still go bowling and
Yeah.
we try our best to like. We have movie nights, you know.
Oh, nice.
We do some fun stuff there, you know. Can't say what, but we
You watched High School Musical?
not in the slightest.
No.
No. But
I thought it'd be fun. Cheetah Girls, nothing like that?
no, but we will be
Sonic
watching
Party.
Flushed Away.
Ah, interesting.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, so I think Muncie is definitely not the greatest city that I've ever seen ever, but Ball State itself has a really great campus that you're able to walk around on, and the community all around here is great. And although like the city around it might not be the greatest thing in the world, the campus is really great, and you get to meet anyone and spend a lot of time with people you like.
I mean, but yeah, it definitely does build more of a community. I will say like that compared to like other major cities I've been in. One thing I do like about Muncie is that we all kind of know each other. When I was hosting events in Chicago, there was one school that had multiple teams show up to the event, and they didn't even know each other. Because Chicago is so massive, it does definitely bring people together. But I will say on that note, nonetheless, prior to you guys arriving here, are all of you guys from Indiana?
I'm from Indiana. I think I'm the only one.
Where are you from?
I'm from Virginia, and I haven't been to Indiana ever before getting here, so it was definitely a new move, and I'm 10-hour drive from home, so I'm kind of all the way stuck in the middle, but I've enjoyed it here a lot.
I graduated high school in Virginia, but I've never been in Indiana ever. So
Did you guys know each other? You and Garrett?
no.
We did not.
I'm sure you guys known of each other at all, or because the Rock League, or
Before he came, I feel like
I knew of him.
yeah,
Yes.
we played in like the same 6-man series before, like one. But other than that, I mean, nothing crazy.
but it was the size of Muncie. Did any of that have anything to do like your decision to come here?
The decision was for me. It was mainly because one, you get to play Rocket League collegiately, and two, it's at a D1 school. So like, I didn't want to end up going to like Nichols College in like
Right.
the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts, something.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, that. So that was the big factor in here. Like, honestly, and the campus is, one of them said, like, the campus is beautiful.
It is
Like, even outside of Muncie, it's not pretty at all. But when you're on campus, when you're walking around, like, it's definitely a place to be. So
Nice. But did you guys have any other offers that you considered, or was it always going to be straight Ball State as soon as you guys were getting out of high school?
I was actually on a tour with another school when I was communicating with Brandon, and then within like 4 days, I think I committed to Ball State.
can we name drop that school?
It was Akron.
Akron. No way.
We stole
Yeah, it
Akron.
was.
We stole Guff from Akron. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Well, and Arlen, obviously you being from Indiana, was that mainly a driving force into coming here, or was you at least still also considering other states?
I was never. I wanted to stay in state no matter what. I was looking at one other college. I was like deciding whether I wanted to play Rocket League collegiately or whether I just wanted to focus on school and just go to a school and just like be a normal student. But once I looked into Ball State more, I think it kind of convinced me because I think Ball State's like the perfect size. Like it's big enough to where you don't see the same people every day and there's stuff to do on campus, but it's not so big like IU or something where you're walking like 30 minutes to a class, 45 minutes. I just think it's like, at least for me, it's like the perfect size. And that's what convinced me.
Yeah, of course, perfect size. That being said, you guys are already used to the temperature, but when it comes to coming from Virginia, how is it going to the Midwest in terms of getting used to like, the cold and the difference in culture?
It's terrible.
I mean, I feel like Virginia is just as bipolar as this place with
Really?
the weather.
It is not. The Virginia, you get snow maybe once a year, and if that, like sometimes you barely go without snow. But then another year you can get a blizzard.
You do get a lot of snow here.
Yeah.
And I honestly like it. The vibe of snow is
Yeah, I like snow a lot.
sexy.
Guess what? Coming from Miami, that's second time already.
Oh, where are you from?
You know where I'm from?
No.
I'm from south of Orlando and north of the Keys,
Nice.
Miami. So that's something that took me a while to get used to. But I was gonna say, but now speaking of the rest states, you guys are graduating within a few years. What is your mindset in terms of Rock League coming to graduation? Are you guys looking at other places where you might want to move to continue your career? And how is Rock League a career to you guys? Is this something you guys might even drop like as soon as you graduate, or like what is the future looking like?
For me,
Yeah.
personally, after college, I'm definitely not probably like I'm not gonna play competitively like
Right.
this. So after college, I'll probably just like I don't know, find a job somewhere and just casually hop on the game whenever and like wear my tags that we've earned every once in a while to look back on. But other than that, I don't see myself really playing Rocket League anymore after this.
All right. What are you guys?
I'm probably the same way. I'm not sure if I'm going to do competitive. I've been playing ever since I was 10 years old, so I think after college it would be like, a good way to send off and just finish off the game.
Yeah, I'm probably not much different. I'm riding out the game until I'm not making money anymore. That's kind of where I'm at. So once college is done, I mean, if I'm still somehow making money after college when I'm like 24 or 22 or whatever, then I mean, I'll keep playing, but probably not.
What if you're 23?
I don't want to think that too. I don't want to think too far ahead.
That's way too far, man. It's not
I understand. On that note, when it does come to Rocket League, that's your mindset. But one thing I'm curious, and this is about, since you guys bring up age, your take when it comes to esports and essentially just a short lifespan when it comes to your career, whether it's collegiate or professional. Do you see that line kind of increasing? And what is your guys' opinion on the take that like your prime is essentially 19, 20 at most for esports? Do you think it's actually true, or do you think it's kind of like exaggerated?
I think it's actually different from Rocket League because I think a lot of people's primes are around like the 17 to 18, maybe even 16 range. Like young kids now are the new best players in the world, and those are the new people that are going to be coming up for years.
Yeah. You look at games like CS or Valorant, and like they're like 90% of the pros are like 25 to 30 or something. Like they're older players, but Rocket League, I feel like the game just evolves so much so quickly that at a certain point, if you're like starting at a certain age, it's really hard to pick up and keep up with metas and all that.
You still see like players like JNaps or Garrett, like even past their prime, so to speak. They're like, what, 22, 23? I mean, they're still consistently on like tier 1 orgs. I mean, still making RLCS all the time. So it's like, even if they're past their prime, I mean, they're still competing at the highest level and they're still doing good enough to still be there. So, I mean, even with Rocket League being definitely a young game, like kind of like Fortnite, there's still like those older pros that are still like, just like with any esport, you have a bunch of people that aren't in their prime, but I mean, they're still consistently up there in skill level, even with the age. So
I understand that. But another question. So speaking of age, another thing I hear the word a lot used, especially in traditional sports, but even here, is the word talent. Before I kind of go on to my next question, what comes to your mind when I say that statement alone, talent? What's the first, what thoughts come to your head when it comes to competitiveness and that word talent?
I don't know. I'd say some people, I feel like Garrett, for example, like he has talent. Me, not really. I feel like I've just played the game and I've tried to adapt, like with these guys. Like I've tried to adapt to them. Like I wouldn't say I have like crazy talent. I've kind of just tried to work as hard as I can to be here. But some people like him or even Orlin, obviously, have crazy talent. And if they put in the work, they'll be even better. So,
yeah, I think a lot of stuff in Rocket League comes naturally to a lot of people. And for others, it's like, for others that have to work harder for stuff, like this stuff is kind of really hard to learn because the mechanics, like they run so much deeper in Rocket League than they do in most other games. Like it's a really difficult game.
So, I mean, now that kind of goes to my next question. You guys, obviously, let's be real, you guys are probably one of the best in the ESC. No joke. But you guys have not had a perfect record. You guys have had fallen down. You guys have lost in ESC finals. You guys have had your ups and downs. Now, I'm not going to name drop, but there's been people close to us who have said, this isn't the most talented roster, but I do believe if they were to take things seriously and they were to communicate and play as a team always, they were right. You guys obviously work together, and the part about working together, not the best sound-wise, but I think you guys are extremely talented. And you guys, they were right in the sense that if you guys work together and obviously put 100% of focus, you guys can the trophy's right there. What are your thoughts? Do you guys believe in terms of talent you guys are the best, or if you're not, what does make you the best?
Are we talking best ever Rocket League team here?
And collegiate.
Collegiate.
I think we're definitely up there. I think we put in a lot more work than other teams, and I feel like we've built up a lot of chemistry. Other teams might have like better individual players, like teams like Northwood or maybe even the new Maryville roster, but I feel like we work together a lot better than other teams do.
Yeah, like I think with the chemistry thing, it's like even outside of the game, like we hang out with each other and we do things with each other. I think that helps with our in-game chemistry and just linking together and playing good together. And I think that's what really separates us, like that, and obviously the practice that we put in, the scrims that we put in, because you have those teams like Northwood, Fisher, they don't really scrim at all. They just go off pure talent. And I mean, fair to them. I mean, the league hasn't really fully caught up to them yet, so they kind of can. But I think that's why we're better than mostly every other team, because we do put in the work and we have good chemistry. So.
Another thing is, esports has always been kind of tight-knit on the very top. Regardless of the video game, if you are Radiant, if you're Challenger, if you're Well, what's your max rank again?
SSL.
SSL.
Supersonic Legend.
Supersonic Legend. Crazy name. There's always sort of a small group on the top that knows each other. In Rocket League, the word fame, I mean, in esports, it doesn't seem, people seem to be too humble to say that word. But within the Rocket League community, do you guys think you've gotten a lot more attention since winning this trophy? Or do you guys think collegiate just really isn't something that most people kind of pay attention to in that kind of community?
I think within the collegiate scene, like, I think it's definitely helped there. Like, people within the collegiate scene respect it, but I feel like a lot of, like, the pros and people that don't play in anything collegiate, they don't give it as much recognition as it deserves, I guess, just because they don't know much about it.
Yeah, there's pro teams that play in CRL, so it's not like it's some bum league where nothing's gonna happen, but they just don't treat it with respect.
Yeah, the league used to be a lot worse than what it is, and then honestly now you could kind of see it as like a retirement home from RLCS, because like you have a lot, like you have EU players, like former EU pros that did very well in their career coming here to, you know, compete. And I think people kind of look down on the league is because of what the skill used to be. And I mean, I guess still the skill isn't, I mean, it's not going to be the best of the best like RLCS, but I mean, this is like the second best league out there skill wise. So
Next question. A little more loaded, but I'm sure this has pressure, right? A sense of, I mean, you guys say you don't feel pressure, but I'm sure at the moment, if it's believed that's not through effort, obviously you guys get called on, just like every team, everybody, even my job, if the higher-ups think that I'm not putting effort, I get called on. When it comes to your mental health, which is something that's very important, that's something that we're trying to focus more on, how do you keep yourself kind of like in good confidence? Because I've noticed a lot of high-elo players think they're bad at the game. It's strange. You ask an immortal player, they'll be like, I'm bad at the game. Meanwhile, you see a person in silver thinks they're the best player in the world. How do you guys keep yourself confident despite the fact that you sometimes, like everybody else, sometimes have failures, sometimes things don't go your way? How do you keep your mental like in a good state and also balancing that with school?
I would say like confidence is just continue to grind and play the game, because like if you take a long break and you come back and then you're not playing as how you normally would. And I think with like the super top pros that like think they're bad, I think it's because like they have such high expectations for themselves to that when they don't meet those expectations, they're flustered. And I think it's good to have those high expectations. It really pushes you to reach where you want to go. And yeah,
I can relate to that too, because for as long as I can remember, I've had a bad mental in that way where I get really frustrated with myself over like the really small stuff that like it'll be not necessarily simple, but something that doesn't really matter very much. But if you just mess something up a little bit, it just gets in your head and it's like a snowball. They just keep snowballing and you get in your head about the whole game. So at that point, I think, at least for me, what I do is I kind of just take a step back and maybe watch some replays of myself playing well. But in general, just kind of, I can step back and let Garrett and Luke kind of take the lead and just play off of them.
The way I kind of deal with the nerves or the pressure of a match, or if I'm thinking I'm playing bad, we've played thousands of games and thousands of hours throughout our career, and Rocket League's just a 5-minute game. At the end of the day, you move on in 5 minutes, and then you never remember that game. Like, it won't matter anymore. You just go on to the next game. You keep practicing. You keep doing what you want to work on, and then it'll help out.
I want to focus on the second part, which I kind of only said it towards the end. When it comes to being a student, though, how much do you guys take that seriously, and how do you as a team kind of keep yourselves and keep each other in check and keep each other responsible for their assignments?
I think all three of us are pretty much good grade-wise. I mean, getting here like freshman year, first semester, it's a hard thing to manage, because like you go from you come here and then you have to go to class and then figure out your new schedule, which is all over the place. Like it's not the same at all to high school. And then you also have to like manage trying to have like a social life and meeting new people, especially like freshman year when you're in the dorms, like managing that. And then also on top of that, playing scrims and doing those tournaments like on the weekends and weekdays. It could be hard, but as they're sophomores, I'm a junior now, I think we've done a lot better with managing our time and getting our classes and assignments in and getting I think we all have, good grades too, because I think we're all good with, managing our, like going to class, doing our homework, and then also being ready for our scrims and tournaments and everything.
It helps when there's incentives. Like last semester, BK and Dan put out a thing and they said whichever esports team gets the highest accumulative GPA gets they all get like a $25 gift card to a restaurant. And unfortunately, we didn't win, but it definitely motivated me to do my assignments.
It was definitely a big change. Like Luke said, when I first got here for my freshman year, being from Virginia, it was 10 hours away. So I didn't really know anyone like from high school that came here other than my Rocket League friends. So it was a big adjustment. But now after my second year, it's been a lot easier to manage everything I need to do.
Now, another question. This is way more broad, not specifically to Rocket League, but esports as a whole. You guys talked about other countries. I mean, it's called what it is. I love this country to death, but in terms of esports, we're not really high up there compared to other countries. I was in Korea for a bit. My God, they play League of Legends like it just came out. They love it there. Europeans are really good at Rocket League. One thing I'd say we're good at is Val. America's pretty good up there when it comes to Valorant, but when it comes to CS, for example, it's definitely Eastern Europe. When it comes to League, it's definitely Asia. How do you see esports growing in the United States? I personally always believe that the only way for us is through scholastic, like high school, middle school, like pushing it down more. What do you guys kind of see as a future being so entangled into esports in the United States or North America as a whole?
Well, it's a loaded question. What are the Europeans and Asian countries like? What are they doing differently than we are? I feel like
I think it's just they have so many different more countries. Like they just have more people. I feel.
Yeah.
Like
Also, in Rocket League, I feel like NA and EU are definitely the big two, and the EU they've been number one for like the last year, but in the last RLCS major, G2 took that one. I think we're finally starting to catch up a little bit.
But I do agree with like U.S. or North America in general are like they can compete, but they're never like the best in any game. And honestly, I have no idea why. So I have no idea. But I do agree with like the high school. I mean, like there were a bunch of high school esports, middle school esports, like a lot more these days. Like in my high school, it was like not really a thing, but like it was starting to become a thing. So I think that would help like young kids start grinding the game. And like what we're doing now, it's like kids can look up and like see like, wow, they're in this spot. They could get a scholarship. They could do that. So like seeing that when they're like younger, and I think that could also just be a bonus from, getting better.
Yeah, definitely, because one thing I always thought, it was definitely the fact that it's not as accessible to everybody else. Esports, let's be real, it does take some level of money. You don't gotta be rich, to be fair, but like you need at least somewhat decent PC and things of that nature. In Korea, for example, it's cheap to go to a PC bank and spend like $10, $11 all day to play. In America, it's like $10 an hour. So I know, for example, we've tried doing like esports camps, things of that nature, and I see some of you guys have volunteered for that. So hopefully it does go better. And speaking of people looking up, is also support. One thing I noticed about you guys, your family seems to support you guys a lot. I know. We see sometimes it can lead to kind of somewhat embarrassing Twitter pictures.
That was a good picture.
chill.
It was a good
Mom.
picture, but definitely ask. Or especially, I'm gonna be like full disclosure. Me, like it did not go well. Me and my parents when I got to esports. For a lot of people, unfortunately, to be fair to them, it's very new. It's like the equivalent of your son saying, "Mom, I want to go pro in beer pong." It's probably how they hear it. But you guys, from what I've seen, your family seems to really be supporting you. Or maybe it's not. How has that felt to have that? And have you witnessed other people? Have you noticed in other people that not everybody has that support?
Yeah. So for CEC Texas, I had one of my grandparents from New York fly out, and I had a couple of my family members from Oklahoma drive down, as well as my mom flew out from Virginia. So it felt really great to have everyone there to support for my first LAN and first national championship, and it really helped us keep the vibes up. And like I see not everyone has that support, but it feels really great to have that support from my family.
Yeah. All it does really is like, number one, it's like if they weren't okay with it, then I don't think any of us would be in the spot we're in. So them supporting what we're doing and like letting me be in my room and playing these tournaments and getting better slowly over time is because they allowed me to. And I think with them supporting me now, it's very motivating because it's like you want to make them proud. Like you don't want to let them down. Like they've allowed me, like they've bought me my PC or half of it because I paid for the half. But they're watching my Twitch streams. They're sharing it with other family members, and like knowing that I have 2 cousins that are like huge fans and like watching me play and us play. It's just motivating, and it makes me honestly play better. So
That's to hear. And then you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's definitely a big difference between trying to get better at the game and, whether it's professionally or collegiately, anything, just trying to get better at the game in general, and having your parents support and the people around you support and not having the support, there's a big difference.
There's a difference between
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely helps having the people around you support rather than, like... There were times where, like, I was in, like, late middle school or early high school, and, like, I got kicked off my PC and told, like, yeah. But, like, when things are run late, you get kicked off the PC and stuff, and just the kind of stigma around it, the way people talk about it, it changes when you have your circle's support.
I've noticed that way more, especially even in production. It's a shame because this bureau is not everybody has that even so today. But hopefully that does change. And I think it's great when I see your parents on the Twitch chat. Everybody knows Mom. As soon as we see that, we know exactly. We know she's going to be there. I think I've seen her in other titles as well, not just Rocket League.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I love her emotes.
There's great emotes.
And that's just something I think that's really cool about that's one thing I love about Muncie is that it's more tight knit like that. In Miami, everyone's doing their own thing, or like another major cities, New York, Chicago. Like I've had a lot of LAN events there. I ain't never seen someone's mom or parents like involved. And I have to be fair, they're probably like again the community's not as tightly knit. A few more questions. When it comes to other teams, because you guys have probably heard us saying like Rio respects Rio. When it comes to other teams, do you feel a sense of a need to like sort of cheer them on or like try to understand like the other teams essentially just try to help motivate each other, not just internally as a Rocket League, but do you see yourselves like trying to work with League of Legends, Valorant, and see you guys as like one team that kind of all needs to like win kind of together? Do you guys feel need to kind of like bounce off each other as well? If that question makes sense, I hope you.
I think like we always hang out with one another, whether it's at parties or just hanging out in the lab. So we're all just friends, and we want to see each other succeed in our own respective games. So we're all rooting for each other. Well, whether we can see it or not, we all want each other to win.
I do wish that like Dan would set or BK would set more like just like community things to get the whole varsity team together and get to know more. We know the people that like are more outgoing and talk, but like there's still a lot of people here that like a lot of people that like aren't outgoing, like kind of like to themselves. So I feel like if Dan set up like a more like community events with the whole varsity, like I feel like that'd be a good thing. So that because obviously we want all the other teams to win, but like I feel like if we knew everyone more on a personal level, like that would be even like higher. Like we would even more. We would want them.
Yeah, kind of like last year we did with the Garage. I don't know if you guys are able to go there.
Not sure what that is.
The Garage is like this place in Indy where we went with a bunch of especially geared around the Gen G and production kids. There was like spring games, for example. I think it was interesting mixing production and varsity because now you guys kind of had different temperances.
The spring games too is a great idea because like we all play or we all come together and play with each other, and like you learn more about the person you're playing with, like the people that are like in the program with you. So I feel like that's a good idea, but I feel like we just would have like more of things like that.
Yeah. Do you guys think that you guys were a little short on time when it came to spring games? I remember hearing people kind of say they wish
spring games was just it was impossible to fit everyone's schedule because you had like five people on the team. You had like 5 people from completely different games that all have their own schedules, and then on the other team 5 people that are also completely different games, different programs, and it was just impossible to like schedule things. But it was a really, really good idea because I got to meet people from like Overwatch, Val, production, like people I never would have talked to or like had the opportunity to talk to otherwise.
Yeah, and the one thing I liked is that it kind of allowed people to kind of show off their skills in other games. I remember for League, not to my own horn, I dealt the most damage.
You were terrible.
No, I dealt the most damage.
Danny subbed into me. Okay, I had 2 League of Legends varsity players. We did not win 1 League of Legends game.
I dealt the most damage.
I drafted terribly. I'm never picking Danny ever again.
That's crazy, bro. No, I know it sounds like he's joking, but I did deal the most damage. And the first day he walks into the arena, he sees me playing League. He's like, I need you to keep practicing that. If we're going to be playing, I'd keep playing. Well, I'm not going to be here in spring, unfortunately, because I graduate in December.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, don't worry. You don't worry about drafting me.
Where are you from?
Miami. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, I'm from Miami, actually. One thing I do like about the Midwest, though, I would say definitely compared to Florida. Whenever I drive up here, I drive north 5 hours. I'm still in Florida. In Indiana, though, and anywhere in the Midwest, you drive any direction 5 hours, you're probably in a whole different state. So is that like one perk that? Because I know for Virginia, you guys are also on the coast. So, but Indiana, you're a dead center of like 5 different states. when it comes to LAN events, would you say that's kind of been like the highlight, like the best part? And from my opinion, I love the traveling part. So what about you guys? Is that like your favorite part of it, or like, how does that rank up there?
I hate traveling all the time. So,
Well, this is mainly for Arlen because you've lived in Indiana.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's not really LAN events in the Midwest.
Yeah, there's the Midwest, like especially Indiana. I don't think there's ever been anything in Indiana other than Battle for Indiana, which is fun. But
Whoa.
there it is. It was
So it's
fun.
fun.
I genuinely enjoyed myself. But there's not really LAN events, but just in general for traveling, it's nice. You drive I think it's like 3 hours to Kentucky, and it's like 5 to Tennessee.
I mean, being in Virginia, though, I mean, we're by D.C. We're kind of by Philly.
Yeah.
I think I went to D.C. at crap ton to where you get kind of bored of it, honestly.
yeah,
But-
there's nothing really to do after you see the monuments all one time, and you go to the sports games. That's it. But
Yeah.
you're close to the beach, so that's good as well.
Yeah, I don't relate that at all. I've been to Disney like 8 times, and all 8 times have been equally as amazing.
Oh, really?
Especially when you go with your friends, yeah.
I mean, that's fair. It's Disney. So.
Yeah,
I've gone like 20.
20, damn, it's crazy.
I don't like it though.
Oh, really?
I don't like
Like,
amusement parks.
After 20 times, I don't think I'd like it either, to be honest. It's not like New York City. I went there twice, and after the second time, it's like, all right, that's it.
Yeah, I'm moving to New York City after we graduate, though.
Really?
I'm going to plan on it.
Damn, I asked you about your future a few questions ago. You didn't mention that. But yeah, hopefully I can also work in esports as well. You guys, also fantastic guys. What are you guys' majors?
Computer and information technology with a concentration in systems infrastructure. And maybe a minor in property management.
Damn, you rehearsed that answer quite a few times, I feel.
Yeah, I've been asked a lot.
Yeah. How are you, Arlen?
I'm an accounting major.
I'm a CS major.
Damn, so you guys are like the smart squad. I did CS in FIU, and I would tell you that the CS in undergrad is harder than like the masters all put together for like media. STEM degrees, which you got all they're doing, are a lot harder than like media. In CS, you're like making programs. In media, it's like, all right, make a 4-minute video of something you like to do in your free time. All right, so I think I'm just gonna ask like one more question, which is, what do you guys do to kind of escape from Rocket League sometimes? Or are you guys so in love with Rocket League that like you don't want to escape from it at all?
I don't know about these guys, but I play hours a day, and I never really get bored of it. I could do it every day, never complain about it. But other games that help us like branch out are like Counter-Strike or something, so we have something else to play that's other than Rocket League.
Yeah, I feel like it's important to not burn yourself out on one game. Like, you could play Rocket League throughout the day. You have your practices and tournaments and stuff. But then, like, a lot of times I'll, like, find a game to play. Like, right now it's CS. Like, after I've played Rocket League all day, like, I'll play CS for a few hours with some friends. And it's nice to have that.
For me, Rocket League is like a love-hate. Like, I'll get on, I'll feel great. I'll play for like an hour or two. And then I'll start playing terrible. You know what I mean? And then I'll get off. I won't be happy. Unfortunately, it does affect my mood sometimes. But something I do like to do is just, obviously, step back but I like to walk. I like to go on walks.
Bro, me too. So that was a fun fact. Danny at 2 a.m. got stopped by the police because I was walking in the middle of the road. but yeah, that definitely clears my mind. But unless you guys are complete video games addicts, I meant outside of video games, is there something that you like to do to just disassociate from gaming in general?
Started to go into gym, so that.
Yeah, it's good to have, like, a physical relief kind of thing to do. But I see what you're talking about now.
He gives you the stare of like.
Yeah, but it's nice to have like an actual physical thing, so you can. I can forget what it is, but if you release your endorphins or whatever when you exercise. But it's nice to have that and get into a routine of it. I think that helps a lot too.
All right. And if you can try not to laugh, what's your
Just walking and then
That's
obviously the gym. So those are
walking
good.
gym?
Like just detoxing, getting away from Rocket League.
Yeah, I want to keep you guys here. I really appreciate you guys coming this late. Any last second remarks before we call it a good first episode of The Nest?
Shout out my fans, shout out my family, and shout out my national championship. That's it.
I don't have anything.
Shout out the fam. Hopefully we do even better this year.
How can you do better than first?
Get more first.
Yeah, more first. There you go.
Maybe not in Game 7 overtime. Maybe a sweep or something.
Perfect sweep.
Perfect sweep.